All right, welcome. Here we are for our new bush trip. We are going to be in the Cessna 172, and we're going to start off at the top of the Florida Keys and go all the way down to the bottom of Key West over here. So we're going to, first leg here, we're going to stop off at Marathon. And yeah, so we're going to get this thing going here. So appreciate you tuning in. This one is set for 98 nautical miles. And we're going to get set up here. We're going to turn Bushtalk Radio on. And do this live this time. So we're going to, I'm going to discover everything right along with you. We got our flight plan set up here. And we're just, we added a bunch of waypoints here to keep on track with the, all the different little islands that run along the Florida Keys. So we're going to be following that flight plan, and we're going to see what Bushtalk Radio has in for us. I do think we're starting on the runway here. First thing we will do, two things at once. Oh yeah, we're already loaded up here. First thing we'll do is set our time of the day. We're in live weather. We'll do a little sunset. Bring up ATC just in case they want to talk to us. And we're going to depart out to, we're really going southwest, so we'll say south. Alright, I think I got the password wrong. I think I put one extra letter there. Alright, there you go. We are connected now. So here's our plane. So a little different color scheme. Little look from the outside there. Alright, so we're in here. We're going to take off at Ocean Reef Club here at the top of the Keys. So we are not too far away from Miami. We got our flaps up. And we will check here for everything here. So we'll turn on all our lights here. Pitot heat. We will throw our throttle down and take our brake off, and we will get in the air. Just our camera view, and we have liftoff, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to bring up our nav map here. All right, so we are on the wrong side of the runway. Microsoft likes to put you on the other side. So we're going to spin around. Get a good look view here of the Atlantic Ocean. All right, nice view of the sunset there for sure. We're going to keep this pretty low. I wonder if that's our first look at Bushtalk. go ahead and zoom in on Bushtalk, make sure we're logged in. And we are.
Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge is part of the United States National Wildlife Refuge System, located in North Key Largo, less than 40 miles south of Miami off SR 905. The 6,686-acre refuge opened during the year of 1980 under the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act of 1965 and the Endangered Species Act of 1973. It was established in order to protect critical breeding and nesting habitat for the threatened American crocodile and other wildlife. This area also includes 650 acres of open water in and around the refuge. In addition to being one of only 3 breeding populations of the American crocodile, the refuge is home to tropical hardwood hammock, mangrove forest, and salt marsh. It is administered as part of the National Key Deer Refuge, which is also located in the Florida Keys.
Alright, Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge is our first Bushtalk Radio on this trip. So there's 4 of them coming up next, all down there. We'll see which ones we have time to play and which ones they play automatically. So we are at cruising altitude speed here, and we got a little bit of time to enjoy our sunset. Probably the perfect timing for the time of day, and it seems like we got perfect weather here. All right, let's see what that first one is here. See if it comes up. Don't know just yet, but I can probably pull that up on Bushtalks and see what it is. So it's Jules Undersea Lodge. And I know this one off here has got to be the coral reefs. Yeah, the Florida Reef. And that one in the middle is John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park. And the one furthest one away over here is the African Queen Boat. So, yep, there is Jules Undersea Lodge. Just popped up on the radar. Bushtalk Radio on that one.
Jules Undersea Lodge is an American hotel located in Key Largo, Florida, and is the only underwater hotel in the United States. It is 30 feet deep on the ocean floor, and guests have to scuba dive to get to their rooms. The hotel is located at the bottom of and was opened in 1986. The hotel's name comes from the novelist Jules Verne, author of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Scuba certification is required for entrance as the front door is located 21 feet underwater. Jules has had over 10,000 overnight guests in its 30 years of operation. Today, many certified divers who are interested stay in the Jules Underwater Lodge, and some who meet the skill and bottom time requirements and participate in underwater experiments in the marine lab can elect to receive specialty diver recognition from PADI or NOI as a recreational aquanaut. This is the only recreational aquanaut qualification available worldwide. Today, aquanaut hotel guests must scuba dive to reach the facility, and a nearby land base offers diving lessons for people who are unfamiliar with the activity. Years ago, non-scuba diving guests were taken down to the lodge breathing air pumped down from the surface through a long hose similar to a garden hose, but this practice was discontinued and now all guests must scuba dive to the lodge entrance 5 fathoms below. The air hose system has been replaced by a hooker rig featuring modern scuba regulator second stages and is often used by guests and the operations crew to get back and forth to the lodge without donning scuba gear.
Alright, that was that one. Let's go ahead and play the Florida Reef.
The Florida Reef is the only living coral barrier reef in the continental United States. It is the third largest coral barrier reef system in the world. It lies a few miles seaward of the Florida Keys, is about 4 miles wide and extends 270 kilometers from Foy Rocks just east of Salter Key to just south of the Marquesas Keys. The barrier reef tract forms a great arc, concentric with the Florida Keys, with the northern end, in Biscayne National Park, oriented north-south from the western end, south of the Marquesas Keys, oriented east-west. The rest of the reef outside Biscayne National Park lies within John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park and the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Isolated coral patch reefs occur northward from Biscayne National Park as far north as Stewart, in Martin County. Coral reefs are also found in dry Tortugas National Park west of the Marquesas Keys. There are more than 6,000 individual reefs in the system. The reefs are 5,000 to 7,000 years old, having developed since sea levels rose following the Wisconsin glaciation. The densest and most spectacular reefs, along with the highest water clarity, are found to the seaward of Key Largo and Elliott Key, where the two long keys help protect the reefs from the effects of water exchange with Florida Bay, Biscayne Bay, Card Sound, and Barnes Sound. The bays and sounds tend to have lower salinity, higher turbidity, and wider temperature variations than the water in the open ocean. Channels between the keys allow brackish water from the bays to flow onto the reefs, limiting their growth. The corals on Florida coast are under threat from human activity. These essential ecosystems are being ravaged by pollution, human activity, and elevated water temperatures. In response, there are a few coral restoration non-profits operating between Miami and the Florida Keys. They plant corals on the reefs in the hope to restore the coral populations in the area.
Alright, and then we got this park up here. This is the Florida Keys Wild Bird Rehabilitation Center. So it's not really a park, it's a rehabilitation center. Let's see.
The Florida Keys Wild Bird Rehabilitation Center Incorporated is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to the rescue, rehabilitation, and release of native and migratory wild birds that have been harmed or displaced, providing or locating a humane shelter for those birds that cannot be released, and educating the public towards the importance of coexistence with all wild bird species. The history of the Florida Keys Wild Bird Center centers around one woman known as the Bird Lady. It is a name that our founder, Laura Quinn, earned over the years as she created a natural legacy rescuing and rehabilitating wild birds. Originally a statistician and mathematics teacher, Quinn always loved nature. She and her husband were sailors, eventually relocating to a home in Lower Matacumbe. When asked about her time on the boat, she said, "I'd get bored on the boat. I tried to knit or crochet, but woodworking seemed to be the thing I could do that was okay to get wet." To counter her boredom, Laura began carving native birds that she encountered in the Keys. Hammerburgency, 24/7 bird emergency hotline, 305 852 to 4486 extension 1.
Alright, the Snake Creek Bridge.
Snake Creek Bridge is a bascule bridge in the village of Islamorada in the Florida Keys. The single-leaf bascule bridge carries the overseas highway over Snake Creek, connecting Plantation Key and Windley Key. It is located near mile marker 86. The bridge was completed in 1981 when a number of new bridges were being built to modernize the overseas highway. It is the third bridge that has existed at this location. The first bridge, which carried the Overseas Railroad, was built in the early 1900s. A second bridge built in the 1920s next to the railroad bridge carried the first overseas highway, though the highway would later be shifted to Railroad Bridge in the 1940s, which was retrofitted for automobile use. The Snake Creek Bridge is notable for being the only remaining drawbridge operating in the Florida Keys. It gained this distinction in the late 2000s when the Overseas Highways drawbridge over Jewfish Creek was replaced by the current Jewfish Creek Bridge in 2008, and the closure and abandonment of the Boot Key Harbor drawbridge in Marathon in 2009.
Alright, and this is a little Bushtalk Radio about this town right here, which I actually stayed here on vacation one time, so this one is a little interesting to me.
Sometimes Islamorada is an incorporated village in Monroe County, Florida, United States. It is located directly between Miami and Key West on 5 islands: Tea-Table Key, Lower Matacumbe Key, Upper Matacumbe Key, Windley Key, and Plantation Key in the Florida Keys. As of the 2020 census, the village had a population of 7,107, up from 6,119 in 2010. History. The name Islamorada, Purple Island, came from early Spanish explorers in the area. Islamorada was the location of one of the stations of the Overseas Railroad. Islamorada was hit almost directly by the Labor Day hurricane of 1935, causing 423 deaths. A memorial, including the ashes of over 300 victims, exists today at Overseas Highway mile marker 82. Hall of Fame baseball player Ted Williams began visiting Islamorada in 1943, and for the next 45 years was the island's most well-known resident. After his retirement from baseball, he became the national spokesman for Sears Sporting Goods and became renowned for his abilities as a fisherman. Over the decades, he hosted numerous celebrities at his Islamorada house and took them on local fishing trips. The village was incorporated on December 31st, 1997. Prior to this date, Islamorada referred to the evolving community island of Upper Matacumbe Key.
Nice. I did not know the history connection there to the Labor Day hurricane. Alright, so our next one is all the way down there. That's going to be Ann's Beach. So to give you a little bit of information that I know of here, this road here that runs all the way down to Key West is US Highway 1. So we're pretty much going to be zigzagging back and forth along the islands here. So yeah, I know this drive well, that there is just one road that goes all the way down with a couple of branch offs here to get to the residences and businesses and whatnot. So sun is almost completely set here. Let's go ahead and check our flight simulator or flight plan. We are looking at 16 miles to the top of our descent, 21 miles to the destination here.
Ann's Beach is located at Lower Matacumbe Key, Florida. The Islamorada Beach is dedicated to local environmentalist Ann Eaton. There are 2 parking lots approximately 1/4 mile apart on US 1 at MM73. Ann's Beach features a shallow swimming area, covered picnic tables, boardwalk and bathroom facilities. This Keys beach is located on the Atlantic Ocean, but there is almost no wave action due to the wide expanse of shallow water typical for Florida Keys beaches. Typical of Ann's Beach is the shallow and warm to very warm waters all year around. The sandbar is composed entirely of calcium carbonate. Ann's Beach is a popular destination for kiteboarders, and due to its wide expanse of shallow water, it presents a good learning environment for beginning kiteboarders.
Alright, so that was Ann's Beach over there off to our left. Next one that we're going to hit is probably going to be Long Key State Park. think that might be it over here. And then you got the Long Key Bridge right there. So let's go ahead and check our flight plan. And yeah, we're going to be flying right over the Long Key Bridge, right over there.
Long Key State Park is a 965-acre Florida state park located on Long Key, one of the Florida Keys, in Monroe County, Florida, United States. It is at mile marker 67.5 on US 1-67400 Overseas Highway. Prehistoric coral reefs grew here over the course of millennia when the sea level was over 20 feet deeper. The remnants came to form Long Key and the rest of the Florida Keys. By the early 20th century, Long Key became an important depot for the completed Key West extension of the Florida East Coast Railroad. The railroad's founder, Henry Flagler, also established the Long Key Fishing Camp, a resort that attracted the greatest saltwater fishermen from around the world. But it did not last for long, when in 1935, the Labor Day hurricane devastated the club, the railroad, and much of the Keys. The land that came to comprise the park was acquired between 1961 and 1973, with the official opening in 1969. The Long Key Bridge, officially known as the Dante B. Fussell Bridge, is a bridge in the Florida Keys connecting Long Key and Conch Key, roughly halfway between Miami and Key West. At a length of nearly 2.5 miles, it is the second longest bridge on the overseas highway after the 7-mile bridge. The current bridge opened in 1982, replacing the parallel Long Key Viaduct, which carried the overseas railroad from 1907 to 1935 and was repurposed for highway use shortly after. Opening in 1982, the current bridge was built as part of a modernization effort for the entire overseas highway to replace the aging historic bridges originally built for the overseas railroad. The current bridge is a box girder structure built from precast, pre-stressed concrete sections. The bridge consists of 103 spans total, 2 of which are 117 feet long, with the remaining spans at a length of 118 feet. The spans are supported by a series of V-shaped piers. This method allowed the superstructure to be pieced together in less than 12 months. Bridges built in the Keys at this time were some of the first in North America to be built using this method. The current bridge is officially named after U.S. Representative Dante Fussell, who served from 1955 to 1993. He is best known for championing legislation to create Biscayne National Park.
All right, and that is our airport up here. So I'm just going to let Bushtalk kind of pick out what that is, and we're going to get ready for our descent to land into Marathon. So that's the Dolphin Research Center.
The Dolphin Research Center is a dolphinarium on Grassy Key, Florida. The 90,000 square foot series of saltwater lagoons is home to several dolphins and California sea lions. As of 2018, DRC listed 26 dolphins as currently residing at its facilities. 25 of the dolphins are bottlenose dolphins, while the other dolphin is an Atlantic spotted dolphin. 22 of the dolphins were born in captivity, while one was captured from the wild. 2 of the bottlenose dolphins and the Atlantic spotted dolphin were rescued from the wild. It is also home to 4 sea lions and several exotic birds. The Dolphin Research Center is a dolphinarium on
All right, and as we're landing, we'll probably get a Bushtalk Radio on the town of Marathon. I reduced my throttle, I increased some flaps. We're going to turn off autopilot, and start our descent here. So as we're landing, that'll probably play the marathon information, so don't be alarmed for it. We'll just do our thing and try to make a smooth landing as possible over here to end our first of 2 flights here for the Keys. So definitely a lot of Bushtalk Radio. So a little less talking for me, a little less work, I guess. So this one seems to be pretty good, and we seem to adjust the time pretty well. That we got to enjoy the sunset. We're gonna bring up our flight plan here. We're gonna check the wind. So we got 30 knots coming into our face from the right. So it's gonna be a little sideways landing here. So we gotta aim into the wind. Or no, we're going downwind. So wind 30 at our back. Alright, so that makes landing a little trickier, but we're just in the 172, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Marathon is a city in the middle of the Florida Keys, in Monroe County, Florida, United States. As of the 2020 census, the city had a population of 9,689, up from 8,297 in 2010. The name Marathon dates back to the origin of the Florida East Coast Railroad. The name came from the railroad workers who were working night and day to complete the railway. Due to the unrelenting pace and struggle to complete the project, workers complained that this is getting to be a real marathon, and the word was later used to name the local railroad station. The Keys historian Dan Gallagher in his book Florida's Great Ocean Railway credits New York playwright Witter Bynner for naming Marathon. According to Gallagher, J.R. Parrott, then Florida East Coast Railway's president and general manager, invited Brinner to the Keys to plot stations for the railroad. When asked to generate a name for the station at Key Largo, Brinner proposed Marathon, inspired by the following passage from Byron: "The mountains look on Marathon and Marathon looks on the sea."
Alright, so we made a safe landing here. And we're just going to drive down to the tower and check out Marathon's airport here. So appreciate you tuning in for leg number 1. We got leg number 2 coming live, and we will also post this after the fact too. So just testing out a new format here to hopefully be able to make everything smooth and steady for these homemade bush trips. So we finished up the Tokyo ones, and now we're just going to do a quick little Florida Keys one. So this one should be enjoyable. We'll set our parking brake, turn off our engine here. And call that a day. So appreciate you tuning in. We will see you tomorrow.